So Pastor-elect Marc Lavarin, tell us about your journey to First Calvary.
When I think about my journey to First Calvary, I don't think about candidating. I don't think about getting the call that I had been elected the 8th pastor of First Calvary. I actually think about my time at Duke. It was the winter, it was January of 2018. Durham was hosting a citywide revival. Dr. Marcus Cosby was the revivalist. All of us as seminarians were rushing to watch Dr. Cosby preach. We had been watching him all semester, and we were so excited that he was coming to Durham. Dr. Cosby preached an amazing message at the revival. I still remember, I believe he preached from Psalm 42. And when he was done, we came down to the altar after service to greet him and take pictures with him. And after service, he invited us to the citywide revivals luncheon. It was actually like a breakfast, a brunch for the local ministers in the area. We didn't pay for it. He just told them, look, tell them you're with me. And when Dr. Marcus Cosby tells you to tell them you're with me, that's what you do. You walk in and say, hey, we're with Dr. Cosby. It was there I met Pastor Frederick Amos Davis. It's the first time I had met him. And Pastor Davis, we sparked a conversation, maybe that lasted no more than 3 to 5 minutes. At the end of that conversation, Pastor Davis told me, look, you're at Duke, you're a Baptist, and I want to sow $500 into your ministry, into your studies. Now, as a Baptist preacher, preachers tell you stuff all the time, and you never know if it's ever going to come to fruition. It was the first time I had ever met him. But the next day, sure enough, $500 were deposited into my account. I remember getting the call from the Baptist House of Studies letting me know that this donation had been given, the scholarship had been given in my name. I was sitting there in the room when I ended that phone call, and I really felt the Lord press upon my heart to sow, to tithe 10% of that $500 back into FCBC, back into First Calvary. I thought to myself, it's $50. I'm seminarian. I am broke because I am a seminarian, but I am broke. But it's $50, and that's a sacrifice that I can do. The next day, I drove to First Calvary. I remember picking up a letter, picking up a card, and giving the offering in that letter. I went to the door, and you all would not believe that Sister Denise Lindsay did not let me see Pastor Davis. You best believe this is true. The very first time that I met Sister Denise, she took the card and said, thank you very much. And Pastor Davis will be with you and get in contact with you later. That's exactly how that ended up. When I was getting back into my car, I remember looking back and just looking at the building and looking how beautiful the architecture was and just thinking to myself, this is an incredible church. I had known of people who attended and worshiped here. I know people who had interned here. I knew of the witness, but being in that building really was a transformative experience. I remember just sitting with the fact that God told me to tithe 10% back into that church. So when I think about my journey coming here, my journey didn't come here as a result of just seeing a nice church on a website saying they were looking for a pastor. It began by me being obedient to what I heard God asking me to do in 2018 about sacrificing, about tithing. And you cannot convince me, no matter how much you were willing to pay me, that what God was asking me to do was to pay it forward, was to simply be obedient now to what God wanted to do later. I had no idea that God was going to call me back into this amazing community of faith. But I'm so inspired by God's providence that God could take the obedience of a $50 seed, that God could take the obedience of a seminarian's heart and turn it into a pastor's heart. I'm so grateful. I'm so thankful that this journey has landed me here at First Calvary Baptist Church in Durham.